Brother. Hello, brother. My brother's in test. We're going to do something different today. I'm going to watch a video from Ryan Root about the topic of TRT. Go on TRT when your test is in the range of 400. This is somewhat hits home for me, and it hits home for me both from a personal perspective as well as from a coaching perspective, in that back in, I don't know what year this was, when I was in my early 30s, though, I was hypogonadal for a variety of reasons. It was mostly my fucking fault. You know, I had 290 or something nanograms per deciliter total testosterone, and, you know, or was it 310? It was just like fucking right above hypogonadal. And no doc wanted to do anything about it, right? They weren't suggesting TRT. None of them uttered the word TRT. Like, it didn't come from anyone's mouth. No one even fucking suggested it. I looked at it and foolishly didn't. Like, I went to naturally increasing test, which worked. It worked for me, but I wish I had gotten on TRT in my early 30s, honestly, instead of waiting until basically mid 30s to do it. So we're going to talk about that notion that, listen, man, the range, first of all, if you're at 400, you're considered normal. But if you fucking feel like shit and you're depressed and you're anxious and you have no motivation to start a business or do good at work or make more money or go pursue some goal or be a man and have a fucking purpose, then that's a problem. Like, that's a problem. And you know, the immunoassay test for testosterone is usually highly inaccurate. Yeah, you know, and it's giving you higher levels. It's registering as higher levels of testosterone, when really, if you took an LCMS, a more advanced version of the total testosterone test, your test would be more accurate and it would show that you're lower. So let's do something different. Let's get to Ryan's video. Ryan Root from Hormones For Me YouTube channel, who talks about this notion of, like, you know, doc says your hormone levels are fine, but you feel like fucking shit. What should you do about it? Should you go on TRT? Let's get into it. In the meantime, look, Cortex Labs is a TRT guidance, sexual dysfunction resolution, and performance optimization company that specializes in a bunch of different things, a bunch of different products ranging from sourceless, look, compilation of vetted sources for trusted anabolics, ancillaries, and hormone hacking agents. I mean, DHT, Testosterone esters, HCG for way cheaper. Just get sourceless down in the description of this video. Torque Stack is a nootropic that I built, which is like Adderall without the side effects. Very powerful. It's on discount now. Codes down in the description of this video. Lastly, I'm a coach on TRT protocol restructuring, as well as sexual dysfunction resolution, where you can have a one-off call with me and a protocol generation, or an ongoing one-on-one package where we're working together ongoingly to fix major sexual dysfunction issues. You can hire me for any of that stuff in under a minute at livecortex.com. All right, so this is a video titled, let me get to the title real quick. It's titled TRT in the 400 range. Should you wait? You know, it kind of explores the idea that, again, in a lot of these cases, guys are sitting absolutely hypogonadal, whether they're 400 or 500 or 650, or usually on the lower end at between 300 and 400. And they feel like shit. They're anxious. They don't sleep well. They don't have purpose in life. They're not masculine. They're not ambitious or pursuing goals in life, but doc won't do anything about it. You know, insurance won't cover it. There's just this big block on getting testosterone unless you are actually just like debilitatingly hypogonadal. I mean, the system itself is very crappy. That's one of the reasons I'm an advocate for taking things into your own hands in certain situations and circumventing the medical establishment if you have to, because there's a good degree of situations in which they won't help you, particularly you being very low on total and free testosterone, but not quite in the hypogonadal range. Well, let's start the video talking about the idea of like a young person being hypogonadal and then like wanting to go on TRT and how there's stigma associated with that and what people generally think about that. Let's get into Ryan's video.
So what age were you? The issue is at 25. So he thinks that it's controversial because he's 25. Says he's tried every alternative. Now, it's not controversial because you're 25. You have hormone deficiency. It's very common. Like I've told people before, in my clinic, our number one demographic is 30, 40-year-olds. Our second biggest demographic is 20, 30-year-olds. Not because these are young guys just trying to get jacked or they don't need. Their hormones are deficient with sedentary lifestyles, with environmental toxins that actually block androgen receptors. Phytoestrogens is attached to the hypothalamus, making your body think that you have more estrogen, and which would shut down your HPTA, the gonadotropin-releasing hormone, to have your pituitary gland produce luteinizing hormone. Phytoestrogens would shut that down. Environmental toxins are endocrine disruptors. It's pervasive. It's not uncommon for people in their 20s to have low hormones. You know, again, I can tell you my personal story. When I had low hormones my whole life and nobody would even look at my levels. When I finally decided to take testosterone on my own at 23, it dramatically improved my quality of life.
Yeah, like this is the kind of stuff, man. I mean, people are walking around in a no man's land. It's just sort of a fucking ghost town in terms of the type of performance that they can execute. Just a warped, debilitated, limited version of the physiology that they could have. And listen, I mean, a good degree of this, it's so crazy how much testosterone is like the essence of a man. How much, you know, like if you're sitting hypogonadal for a while and then you start injecting testosterone, how significantly better you feel. You're making more dopamine, you're making more noradrenaline, your brain is having androgens bind to androgen receptors, you're getting DHT, which is both an antidepressant and a profoundly masculinizing hormone. Your skeletal tissue, your muscles are enhancing protein synthesis, so you're growing, you're able to put mass on at the gym, you're wanting to be productive, you have a mission in life, an orientation toward getting shit done. You've got a purpose and you want to go and execute that purpose. Anybody thinking about going on TRT, like again, the commonly held stigmas or the commonly held beliefs that tend to scare people away from it is I'll be on TRT forever. It's just this base level kind of layman way of thinking about it. And I don't blame people because the information isn't out there. Like they haven't been on our channels or Ryan's channel or Vigorous Steve's channel or other people's channels that are talking about testosterone pretty frequently. All right, so let's talk about the idea, like an example of a Reddit thread of a guy that was at like low levels of testosterone, and it looks like doc didn't want to prescribe him testosterone. And in that state, you're in a place where it's like, well, what do you do? Like in those cases, you know, like you almost got to take things into your own hands. That's really the optimal move in that case if you want to be better. Because look, you want to function well, you want to feel well, you want to be assertive and productive. That's what TRT does.
What I have on here. Oh, this is actually a good take. Goal numbers should be on the top of your recommended levels. Goal numbers should be at the top of your recommended levels. Sure, a car with 400 horsepower ain't bad, but a car with 900 horsepower sure is a hell of a lot more fun. Don't live your life being a shell of a man you once were. A urologist will get you on it. That I will disagree with. A urologist will not get you on it. I was at 340 and my family doctor wouldn't help me. At 40 years old, my range was 300 to 900. So many benefits. I haven't been this motivated since I was in my late 20s. I'm working on projects again, working out, actually enjoying life, and not stuck behind a TV and sleeping my hours away. See, that's a good take. I've talked to thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people who have this same experience. Doesn't matter what age you are, if you need testosterone, get on it. So he says, my urologist couldn't put me on it because I wasn't below 300. So he keeps saying he's 25. It's controversial. It's not controversial. If you have low hormones, then you got to take the hormones. It's not controversial if you have low insulin and high glucose, then they'll certainly put, that's a hormone. They'll certainly put
That's
you on.
Another one that changed my life was thyroid. I went to so many doctors that they're like, you're below the range, but we don't care. You don't need it. This one clinic helped me out and I ended up getting on thyroid and it changed my life. So it was such a big improvement.
I want to point this out too, because this is again, one of the misinformation that's promulgated by the medical community and therefore by default the people. Get the CPAP deal in order first, get to the gym, eat clean for a few weeks and then retest. It might be the lack of oxygen that makes you feel terrible. I mean, if he
Okay, I just want to couch it there. There's a couple things to talk about. Yeah, first of all, you know, my urologist couldn't put me on it because I wasn't below 300. So in other words, what the medical establishment as it is in most cases, again, there's TRT clinics for this, and they're circumventing the medical establishment entirely with the source list, which you can find at livecortex.com to just take matters into your own hands. But in a lot of cases, they want to wait until you're nearly dead, you know, perhaps not physically dead. Here's a good question. How long can a man live hypogonadal? The answer is a very long fucking time. But that man's life in terms of quality of life is going to be profoundly shitty for the duration of his life. You can live with 300 nanograms per deciliter total testosterone, but you're not going to have a good life. You ever seen the first Captain America? The first Captain America where Guy Evans, or whatever the actor, is like small and scrawny, literally skinny. He's like short. He kind of gets made fun of. He can't get chicks. Like they wouldn't even let him join the military. Then he goes into this like experimental program and he turns into fucking Captain America. He's buffed suddenly. He's got muscle mass and feels great. Like the medical establishment as it stands, especially your GP, is perfectly okay letting you look like Captain America before he became Captain America. All right, that's like a pretty fucking bleak scene right there. I experienced this where, again, I believe I was actually at like 290, and the range at the time was 285, like 0 to 285 was hypogonadal. And this was a VA doctor and a Veterans Affairs doctor. These guys are supposed to have their shit together treating fucking veterans, and didn't even mention testosterone. Like, I think I probably brought it up, and he's like, no, you need to be below that. Like, they're going to operate within those guidelines. And that's just a tragedy. If you're at 290, you're hypogonadal. If you're at 400, you're close to hypogonadal. And if you're feeling depressed, anxious, not assertive, and non-masculine, and your sexual function's a little weak, and you can't go to the gym and put on muscle mass, that's a problem. Think about this. If you can't put on muscle mass, that is a fucking problem. So I don't know if this is going to change. Thankfully, telemedicine has become very popular in the COVID years and still extended to now, and that'll be something that's just permanent consistently, as long as the DA doesn't get involved or try to inhibit it with the Ryan Haidt and all this other shit, all these limitations that they're sort of putting on TRT, so that these days guys in this situation can go to clinics. Now, the idea of being 25, I kind of agree with Ryan on this. I got to say, I don't think there should be a stigma associated with it. It's pretty cut and dry. You're hormone deficient, so go on hormones. And one of them made the example, if you were insulin deficient, would you wait until someone's 34 to put them on insulin? Fucking no, right? You'd put them on insulin if they were insulin deficient at 21 or 18 if they needed to. Same with thyroid medications. I don't really think there's a stigma to that, but the same can be said also about suboptimal thyroid functioning with numbers in range. People got to watch for that. I know people that are like that. To some degree, I'm like that, right? This is why I take desiccated bovine thyroid supplements, and they help me fucking tremendously. Otherwise, I could just take actual prescription thyroid medication, which at some point maybe I'll try, but the desiccated stuff works really well for me. Bottom line is, like, at 25 years old, man, if you're deficient in testosterone or close to it, but you're still within range, but you feel like you're deficient in testosterone, you're probably not getting enough testosterone. And, which we'll do a separate video about, and Ryan has covered before, the immunoassay, the regular total testosterone and free and bioavailable testosterone tests are usually inaccurate. Okay. And they pin you as having higher levels of testosterone than you actually have. Right? The only way you're getting accurate levels of testosterone is you're taking LCMS. LCMS. That test is what you need. Now, this other point that I want to quickly make, this excellent vehicle guy goes, get the CPAP deal in order first, because maybe a guy has fucking sleep apnea. Get to the gym, eat clean for a few weeks, and then retest. Might be a lack of oxygen that makes you feel terrible. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay, I can see in the case of actually having sleep apnea, which, by the way, is much more related to digestion than it is anything else. Yeah, if you're overweight, you're probably going to have sleep apnea. But if your digestion is bad, well, guess what? Reflux, acidic contents, digestive enzymes like pepsin, they're going to reflux into your airway, which will hit your pharynx, larynx area, and that's going to close your airway when you're sleeping. A lot of people that think they have sleep apnea actually have silent reflux, and it's causing that's a whole separate thing. But the notion that, like, okay, just eat clean, bro. Just eat, what? So start eating like fucking chicken fajitas and lettuce, like start eating salads with some Italian dressing. See some salads with Italian dressing. Yeah, people will just give you the stupidest advice. Go keto, like whatever advice it is. Yeah, your testosterone levels like are recover, or you'll feel fine, or whatever. Untrue most of the time. Untrue most of the time. I got people that come to me all the time that are thinking about getting on TRT, that are in the low levels of testosterone, but they're in the normal range. And they tell me their diets. And these guys are eating like the fucking people in blue zones. You know what I mean? Like, they're eating profoundly healthy. They're walking every day. They have a sense of community. Like, they should live to 100. But they feel crappy. They're not assertive. They're not pursuing goals. They don't have a mission in life, a purpose. They don't feel masculine. They're not confident to go date. They want to start a company. They just don't have the confidence to do it. They don't know where to start. The whole world is like overwhelming them. And that's what happens when your testosterone levels are low. And no amount of the vegan diet or juicing, or going to the gym and eating clean is going to fix those situations. Getting on androgens so that your body has the hormone that drives you as a man. Well, the subsequent hormones, all three hormones, test, dihydrotestosterone, estradiol, that's going to very fucking quickly change your life. I mean, if you browse the forums, you're going to see people that weren't on TRT, got on TRT, and they're like, is this placebo? Because in a mere 3 weeks or 1 week for some individuals, and a lot of folks would think that that's placebo, and it absolutely isn't. How could it be? You're peaking in blood testosterone. That's affecting neurotransmitters. That's affecting gene expression. That's affecting everything. Muscle mass, muscle tissue, fat mobilization, fat versus muscle mass compartmentalization. All this stuff, it happens right away, but getting on T changes these guys' lives. All right, let's go to another one. Again, there's a lot of folks out there that'll just deter you from using TRT, and then laymen get stuck with these notions that TRT is bad or it isn't going to help, and they get sort of dissuaded from going on the one thing that will dramatically overhaul the quality and the happiness of their lives, which is testosterone. And people say shit like this.
Here's the one. Get apnea under control first. The TRT might mess with your sleep for 1 to 2 days a week. And if you're already compromised, then adding a surge in hormones is going to potentially really fuck with you. No. TRT helps most people sleep. Again, this guy you're going to see he uses the word I or my. It happened to this guy. So he's like, oh yeah, this is what, but look at him using generalized term. It might mess with your sleep. It's going to do this thing. It's going to potentially really fuck with you. No. Most people improve their sleep from testosterone.
And look at how he tries to manipulate people with his word choices. You see at the bottom, he used the word needle meds. He's being a conniving little, I don't know what words I shouldn't say, but he's trying to cheat. He doesn't have a good argument, so he's trying to force one.
That's exactly right.
And you have to watch out for those people. Yeah, there's going to be people that just they sound convincing, and they can convince you. Testosterone is this, or testosterone is that, and like you have to inject yourself with a needle and whatever else that guy said. I mean, it's like completely ridiculous. They make a good point too, that people are unable to usually step out of their own experience, and this is actually dangerous when you're taking advice from someone. This is why I'll recognize that there's a subset of people on TRT that need higher estrogen. There's a smaller subset that need to actually supplement with estradiol on TRT. There's a subset of individuals that should take AIs, subset of individuals that should be using things like Masteron and Primabol to control estrogen. There's people that need HCG. There's people that don't need HCG. Your experience, like, it's an N equals 1, man. And you can't go on Reddit, or if you're people watching, like, you can't go on Reddit and read people saying, hey, testosterone is going to cause all these problems, or you shouldn't use it, or it isn't going to help much, because it's a person operating from their N equals 1, which is so minute. It's just this micro example. Think of a pebble of sand in a beach of billions of particles of sand. We want to thank Ryan for doing that video. They just did this. What was this? Yeah, 6 days ago. So this is a new video. Like, Ryan is great because he's one of the people that recognizes the power of testosterone. Like, I first came across Ryan's content, like, I think searching Reddit for trying to find other anecdotals of people that need higher testosterone, because I was seeing it in coaching. I'm like, these guys are needing 250, 300, 350 a week, sometimes a little higher, high dose prop to fix their sexual dysfunction issues. And that's just not in the literature, aside from that 600 milligram a week study, which ended up being like fine. People were fine. There was no real, just little changes in serum lipid parameters, but nothing deleterious was happening to these people. But high dose testosterone isn't studied. So I had to go seek that out for some of these people that seem to require it. And Ryan was in there in the comment section going, yeah, there's a cult of low dose TRT evangelists, and fucking expanded upon it into this like hour-long video, which was super cool. And I think we covered at some point. Bottom line is this, boys, like, look, people are going to need varying degrees of testosterone to feel good. It isn't necessarily that 900 is going to feel good for you. Maybe 1500 is going to be good for you. But like, I just want to encourage people to understand once and for all that normal testosterone levels, number one, because the immunoassay testosterone test is usually inaccurate and usually pegs you higher than you actually are in blood levels. So you got to get the LCMS test. But number two, even if it is you're accurate and you're at 450, that's not optimal. As a 41-year-old man, 41 in a couple of weeks, at 500 testosterone, total testosterone, and what would be low range free testosterone, I would feel terrible. I wouldn't be going to the gym. I wouldn't want to go to the gym. I wouldn't be doing content and building companies. I'm starting a new company soon, a clinic, by the way, a hormone clinic. So you guys look out for that. I've achieved so much over the years, both before TRT and after TRT, but for sure these days, like, dude, I couldn't be cranking out content, being productive. You know, at any given time, I've got 20 different coaching clients that we're rotating between. I'm looking at blood work. I'm designing protocols. I'm fixing people's sexual dysfunction. I'm going to the gym. I'm doing runs. You know, I'm out with my chick, dating and doing things and going to movies. Like, I live a very active, busy life. But there are some 40-year-olds who don't do that, who don't look like that, like who go to work barely and they get home, they sit on the fucking couch, they don't have energy anymore. You don't want to be that person, whether you're 25 or you're 45. If your numbers are normal and you feel like shit and you have all the signals of hypogonadism or low testosterone, maybe your sexual function works fine, but you're tired, you're depressed, you're anxious, you're not assertive, you don't want to build stuff, you have no purpose, you're not masculine, you don't want to pursue things, you don't want to conquer life, that's a problem, and you really should consider TRT. Don't be dissuaded by, you know, the guy who tells you maybe you should just eat clean, just go on a vegan diet, you know, do a little, like, sleep an extra hour. It's nonsense, brother. That stuff is not going to help you feel better when your testosterone levels are very low. TRT is life-changing. It is game-changing. It is revolutionary for men. And this is why, if you look at the data, it's only going like this. All right, as I said in the beginning, boys, look, I'm a coach on TRT protocol restructuring. Primarily what we do is take bad protocols and make them better protocols for that person. Like, you have to tailor a protocol in. You've got to know, do you need higher estrogen? Do you need lower estrogen? Do you need to control estrogen? Do you not need to control estrogen? Do you need to be in the 250 to 350 milligram a week range of testosterone? Like exogenous, just injectable testosterone? Do you need to use cream? You know, do you need a DHT derivative with your protocol? Does that need to be mainstay as part of your protocol? Basically HRT plus. There's all a variety of things, but it's about dialing people in, and that's what I do. You can hire me in under a minute for the one-off call, which comes with a protocol formulation at livecortex.com. For those of you with serious sexual dysfunction, libido issues, erection issues, I've been working on this for almost a decade. You know, there isn't a situation that I can't get to the bottom of. It just takes time. But it takes time. We need 3 months. We need 6 months, possibly even more. It really all depends on the situation. If you have the budget, hire me for long-term one-on-one packages where we'll get to the bottom of this stuff with hormones and get you squared away at livecortex.com. Also, source list. Again, people needing to take matters into their own hands in these situations, sometimes you have to do that. I built a list, a compilation of vetted sources for anabolics, ancillaries, hormone hacking agents, including DHT itself. Man, I have an anecdotal, which I'm going to show you guys soon at some point, of a new client that just got some high potency DHT gel. The difference in productivity and energy and happiness and the antidepressant effect, fucking night and day when just applying DHT to the body. And people starved of this stuff. You know, like, you don't know what life is like until you get it. You can have access to that stuff and a lot more at the source list. Get it at livecortex.com. Also, Torque Stack. Everybody wants to be able to take 2 pills and have their brain turn on. I built a pretty powerful nootropic stack. For those of you with me for long enough know that before talking about testosterone and hormones, I was talking about neurology, neuroscience, the pharmacology of nootropics for more than a decade. I built one. It is very powerful, and you can get it down in the description of this video. All right, brother. It has been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you. I hope I've given you some food for thought and something to think about. I appreciate the fact that you've been with me. Like the video, makes a huge difference. Would you do me that favor and like the video? It really would mean a lot, bro, if you did that. Sub to the channel. If you're new, we talk about this stuff all the time. Every week, live streams on the weekend, endless faucet of content coming out forever in the continuum. Otherwise, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. More content coming later on the week. If not, Saturday, live stream, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Make sure you have noties on to get notified of when we go live. And boys, we'll talk to you guys on the next one.